Welcome to the #1 online video cast produced by Same Moon Media. Shut the hell up, grown folks are talking. With your hosts, welcome to the #1 online video cast produced by Same Moon Media. Shut the hell up, grown folks are talking. With your hosts, Will and Chris. Fun talk and lots of laughs about anything you can imagine. Start the show.
Ooh. Okay. All right. So I am back real quick. There was something that I wanted to do. I had to make a phone call. I told this dude that I will call him, surprisingly. So let's see. All right. Let's see if we can. Let's see if he picks up. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's going on, man? What you doing?
Oh, man. Reading some letters. See, I got a fucking speeding ticket down in Clinton.
Oh, okay.
I have to get somebody to fight that for me.
Well, don't get too personal because remember when I told you I was going to call you?
Okay.
Are you on, go on your YouTube?
I'm kind of working right
Oh, okay, so go later because you are on live, Thomas.
Uh-oh.
I told you I was going to call you, man.
Yeah, but you got to let me know beforehand, man. I'm okay. I'm glad I didn't say the wrong thing.
That takes away the fun of it. But see, I'm a man of my word, so I had to let you know I was going to call you, put you on the show. I'm glad you picked up. But real quick, is there anything that you would like to say since you are so busy and I'm going to have to hang up real quick?
I went to a Omega Sci-Fi Mardi Gras
Mm-hmm.
with mostly professional people in the fraternity and sorority.
Okay.
And what was interesting about it was that a lot of times we're living in the past because we see ourselves as how we used to be in our 20s and 30s and 40s, between prior years.
Okay.
And just the attitude and the mindset of some of the people, especially the black women.
Now, what would you? Yeah, what are you saying is the thing that's the mindset? What are they doing where they have an old mindset, or are you saying they should be a lot more? What should be different?
You can't walk around thinking you're the cat's meow and you weigh 200 pounds. Because you're in a sorority.
Okay.
That's not what you should be doing. You should be speaking to everybody and be nice to people because you're not that person anymore. But the thing is, and upon personal reflection, is you have to realize that you're not that person anymore either.
That's true.
That you might need to work on some personal growth and lose some weight yourself.
Right.
And it's not just them, but it's also you.
Now, the weight thing, that's just from a health perspective, not even about like dating and being sexy for somebody. Yeah. We, in our age, we just need to be healthy. What you think?
But how do you see yourself? When you look in the mirror, I mean, you see one thing. What you see is not what everybody else sees. They see something entirely different.
Okay, all right. So you're saying these people are delusional. They see themselves and...
They're delusional.
They looking at... So you're saying that a lot of these women just wouldn't even talk to the brothers? They had their heads in the air?
They were kind of snobbish. Like they were sitting there saying, yeah, I'm here. It's all about me. And then you're looking at somebody that's 300, 200 pounds, 250, and you're saying, no. But they're still believing that very image. But when a oversized mirror will bring you to reality whether you want to or not. An oversized mirror. Because you can see one thing until you sit down and look at that mirror and you say, no, maybe
Now you do know that there's some people who are voluptuous and they really like themselves. They like that the big body thing. In Africa, that means you're rich. So you living in the wrong place, man.
We're not in Africa. But they have to realize that that's not what men want. Men want feminine, fit, and submissive. And a lot of times, women aren't submissive.
Oh,
you're making $100,000 job. You think because you're talking to a guy, be a guy, he's supposed to pay close attention to the fact that you're making $100,000, but he doesn't see the $100,000. It's not his money. Only thing he sees is the $300 sitting in front of him.
Now you said something where a lot of women are going to be like wondering about it. You were like submissive. What's your definition of a submissive woman? Because I know you don't mean like she's supposed to be like picking you up and taking you to the next room and then tickle your feet.
No. Cooperative.
Cooperative. Okay.
Most women aren't. A lot of women aren't submissive. A lot of times they just really need your money or you to do this and that. Everybody, the big thing on social media is a man is supposed to provide.
Wait, repeat that. Say that one more time. A man what?
There's a big thing saying men are supposed to provide, be provided.
Okay. I mean, it's an antiquated idea because times are different. You need two incomes.
Times are different. That's not the case. Even Farrakhan says that there's no such thing as a 50-50 relationship.
Now, do you not believe that it can be? Like if you're on the same page? Because I think a lot of us, we get into involvements with somebody and we don't say the quiet part out loud. We're supposed to say what we want. Or, express, see if you're on the same page. I think a lot of women out there want a partner. I hear a lot of women say, I want a partner. There are some that say, I want a man to treat me like a lady. We know what that means in the sense of, buying and spending. But you know what? If you love somebody, you do that. But I get you. You're saying particularly at the beginning. Times is hard. You can't really be spending at the beginning on them, right?
That's a myth. That's not. That doesn't make sense today. If somebody is doing that now in this state, I mean, especially what's coming up in the near future is cut it down and put it together for the future. But nobody can afford to take somebody to Shea Willie's for $600 a goddamn meal no more. Who can do that?
True. Oh, so introduce yourself real quick, Tom. We got into it and I caught you off guard as I planned. So everybody I'm talking to, some of you know him, some of you don't, but those that know him know that he has a big presence, a kind heart, and he thinks he can punch.
Which is overrated.
And he's a hell of a football player.
Yeah. Well, usually I fit into the category of the giver. And usually the problem is givers try to take it. The problem is you have to, if you're giving, you got to know the limit to how much giving. And that's something I have to learn. Because you can give her enough. You can walk into a room and takers will find a giver every time. But the problem is, does the person that's taking appreciate you giving?
Okay. Now, when you say, now this is just giving, not out of duty, right? This is just like I believe if you can give and treat somebody special and you're not losing something yourself, like don't spend the rent to take this lady on a cruise. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not even talking about taking somebody on the cruise. I'm just talking about putting food on the table and helping them get to the next day because everybody ain't doing well in this account.
Oh. So, I mean, at what stage in a relationship should you start contributing like that?
That's a good question. I guess when it'll be appreciated because a lot of times you give people expect you to give and then it ain't appreciated.
True.
A woman will say, I got 5 kids or I got 3 kids. And then in your mind you think, yeah, but they ain't my 5.
Let me ask you this. What's your expectations when you give? What should you get back?
I'm adjusting that because used to be a time I gave to a fault. Now I'm giving, but I cut back on. I'm giving and then I'm waiting to see if giving helps maintain you and help you. But at the other end, if I see it ain't helping you and improving you, then I can't get it, because you don't want to be an enabler also.
Okay. Do you believe that some women?
Well, God,
go back. So we're saying this enabler, right?
Yeah.
So, because some women just think, even if their situation isn't that bad, they think you should add to it. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah,
it's not enabling, but they want you to add.
But the problem is, when people start giving like that, then they start expecting. And usually when they start expecting something, you know what they're expecting. They're expecting something that you should be giving the other person, not because it's time to give it to them, or you want to share that with them, not because they're paying for it.
Okay.
Which is a different thing, entirely different.
So basically, people should just wait till you know that this is the person for you. Should there be a spending limit? Like if you hanging, just give yourself a $50 to $200 window for when you're going out. When will you know? When
will you know?
Yeah, I think you have to pay attention. Like I've gone on a couple of luncheons where surprisingly by the second one, that person paid. So I think that's a good sign right there. Whoever invites should pay. You shouldn't be invited to dinner. Then, all right, so you gonna pay for that? No, whoever invites should pay, and that's my opinion.
But that depends on the woman and the person. Some women are intellectually intelligent enough to say, I'm not going to let him do this and that and that and this, and then I just want to hang out.
Okay.
That's the kind of person you want to continue with, as opposed to those that get there and order everything on the menu because they're looking at you as being a sucker soldier, somebody that they're going to take advantage of.
So what about if a woman, what if she has game? She knows date 1, date 2, do this, but date 3, okay, now I got to be me. I got to eat what I can eat. We can't act like I don't eat. What's your opinion? Because you could get hustled.
Well, we all get hustled one way or another, but at the end of the day, I think if the man has any kind of common sense, he'll say, "Nah, she's just sucking me," and let that be. I mean, and there's no reason to be upset about it. Just say no. I don't think we're gonna be able to do that next time.
I guess I would say the only thing you could do is pay attention and give yourself a limit. It's like, I'm only going to do this much until I see this much. And then you have to recognize when it's not working. And I think that's where we make the mistake. We don't even see. We're so caught up in the beauty of the beauty and the sex of it all. We're not paying attention to if this person is treating us right. And that's what you're talking about, being treated right.
But that depends on the maturity of the man also, because if a man is mature and has a purpose and understand what he's doing, where he's going, he don't have time. He's not going to do all that just to get some coochie or just to get you in bed.
Well, let's not say that they won't. There are some that will.
Well, there is, but if he's really on his game and his purpose, he wants to see if you're worthy of him going the extra mile, where you can have this dinner, that dinner, and all of that other stuff. He'll wait to see, but if he's just trying to get some, that's usually for younger guys that will do this and that to get it. So they listen to that Steve Harvey stuff, and that's the joke.
Well, like which part of it you talking about? Like just the whole thing, yeah. The 30 days or 60 days.
Yeah. I heard something. I saw something where the guy said he didn't wait no 60. He waited 90 days for you, and then he was doing this thing with everybody else. You didn't gain anything. You just waited.
Right. And it's not in the rule that you're supposed to wait, but yet he's celibate, right? It's just they got you waiting. So I guess I can't do it though. It's like if once I kiss a woman, I'm in a little bit of a relationship. I can't go out there dating a bunch of other women. That's just how I roll because I don't want to get them confused. In a sense of, I've hurt some feelings when I was younger. So it's like, you know what? Let me just be clear on my intentions. So I don't even, sex at the beginning, that ain't happening because there's so much that comes with it. And a scorned woman or angry woman can shoot you.
What's wrong with that section? If the vibe is right and you're feeling it, and she's feeling it, and it happens, it happens. It could be magical. I mean, some people see each other for the first time and end up marrying in person. It all depends on the person that you're trying. The thing
but
is
that's
this.
That's all chemical. That's not even like love is what you do. Love is an action.
Well, that's true, and it also again it depends on the person. The real issue is the real question is this. What do you do if that person is a soulmate?
Okay.
Can you go about the process of really trying to understand the real relationship between a man and a woman in the eyes of God, where you can become a soulmate? When you're on the same page and you're on the same frequency, you can think that you can be sitting there saying, "Damn, I wish I can get a Coke," and she just get up and go get it because she's on the same frequency.
Right.
I think we all search for the person that's on the same frequency. The problem is that most people are so damaged, and I include myself. You have to understand that.
Okay.
Most people are so damaged by their 30s and 40s, they don't really know what love really is.
True. And
they don't know.
But again, it's like, where are they getting their understanding of what love is? From their parent, from other relate. There's no standing rule other than, like, I go with Corinthians, love is patient, kind, understanding. If you're in a relationship where you put somebody first, and now it's going to sound crazy, but you put them before you, but that person being on the same page is putting you before them. That's being on the same page to me. It's like in the forgiveness, and like you don't care about the things that you do, and you don't expect anything in return. And I don't think that's something that happens automatically. I think that's the kind of love that builds. You have to know this person. I think everything else is chemical. It's just it's a reaction to attraction.
I think when people reach a certain age, they're kind of incapable of here's a theory that I came up with, and to whether I'm right or wrong.
Okay.
Chris Rock says women love their children, their family, and their dog. I do believe that. I think that when women start to advance, if they get hurt enough times, they don't have the patience or they don't have the patience and the real mindset for real love. And nobody, and sometimes it's very difficult for a man to come along and meet that need because they've had so much old baggage.
Exactly.
And I'll go one step further. That's even the same condition for men. Sometimes we can have so much baggage and so much pain in our heart and so much negative shit to the point where it's almost like having PTSD. That person can do something or say something, and it'll take you back to where somebody disappointed you. And
no, you're absolutely right.
You just can't go. You can't. You have a hard time getting to the point where you actually are capable of loving. But they say that you gotta give love,
right,
in order for you to receive.
Right.
You give it and you close your eyes, you open up your hand, and you hope that they understood the nature that you gave it to them, man. But that ain't always the case. You can only hope.
And to be honest, if they don't give up the pain, like everything that happened in the past you're supposed to learn from that. It was supposed to be about the experience. It shouldn't be a reflection of who you are. Things don't work out all the time. Things do work out sometimes. But the thing is, you take that moment, you learn from that, and you try not to make that same mistake with another person. You're supposed to, that red flag is supposed to stick out there, and you're supposed to be like, she was like her. I tried that. That didn't work. I think we just don't learn from our experiences. We just have them and we feel.
Yeah, that feeling thing is something. I mean, you feel. But other than the fact that you feel, what else? What is concrete in that you can see other than the feel? What's a consistency? Is the person consistent? Is the person trying to move forward? That's why they say you should follow your purpose and not follow love. Follow your purpose, because your purpose will take you far, far further than love.
True. And you know what's crazy, Tom? When I realize when the person is more for me when they're angry. When they get to that point where they're upset, how they deal with themselves and how they communicate during a high emotional state, that's when I'm like, oh, okay, so that won't work because there's no reason to argue. It takes two people to argue, but if you could
true.
talk, yeah. So that's where I usually find out. That's when I realize, their process of solving or coming up with solutions is different from mine. The rage comes out, and then you may not get an opportunity to apologize. That's why I don't believe in being angry at first. Figure it out. See it from their perspective.
What does the statement say? When you make somebody mad, you really figure out you have an understanding of whether they really cared about you. So, okay, I'll give you a good example.
Okay.
When you make somebody mad, you really make them mad. How they treat you in the anger tells you whether they really cared about you.
Right.
Because they say women can forget men very quickly. In 15, 20 minutes. They can forget you and move on to the next. But men, on the other hand, might hold you in that space for 7 to 10 years. And he's still, holding on to that. They also say that there's a woman, there's a man in every woman's life. That if he called them 2:00 in the morning. She'll put them boots on and go see what he wants.
Okay. Well, I hope that is not the case.
I hope not either, because I'm just hoping that I get no 2:00 phone calls and I gotta go somewhere. He opens needs me. He needs me immediately.
And I'm assuming these are you're even saying that this is even when the woman's not single. She's still pining for her old flame.
Some people never leave. Like they also say, some people never leave their mind. That matter who you have. But there's all kinds of things. There's also a theory saying that they settle for the beta male because the alpha male doesn't want them.
Right.
But we kind of got off track. I was going to make the point that sometimes arguments are very good for the relationship because if you really care about the person, you say to yourself, man, we arguing and this is stupid. I really want her right now, but I can't tell. But actually, if you did in the middle of the argument, it wouldn't have anything to argue.
True. If the goal was to really hear the person, like you don't have to. Yeah. When you argue, I feel like you're only responding to the language of what they said. They said something, and whatever meaning you give, you make yourself mad. People are the triggers, but they don't make you mad. It's how you interpret what they're saying. That's why I think you can have a world of not arguing because just what they're saying doesn't have to be true. But to listen to it is important because you might learn something about yourself. If we can take criticism without getting emotional, that's the stepping stones to, I think, a good relationship. Not only with a romantic, we're saying with anybody, with your child, with your relatives. So if you could put your ego to the side and try to understand what this woman is saying, in my opinion. Right.
Well, how many times are you were wrong? And you just caught slipping and you were wrong. And all you really had to say was, you're right.
Yeah.
Because if you say that, then what else can the other person argue about? You did like my man did in Baby Boy. He says, you're right. I messed up. It won't ever happen again.
Right.
I'm sorry. And what did she say? She said, well, all right. Okay, that's that.
Does it always work like that?
No, I guess not. But what did the son say? This is some bullshit. Right. You just gonna let him get away with it just like that? Well, what else could she have done?
That's unconditional love. Unconditional love. Right. He apologized. You accepted that.
You accepted it. So now that should be the end of it. You're supposed to pay close attention to him.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you ain't supposed to hold a grudge, depending on what it is, right?
Exactly.
You can't go speak with the whole football team and say, I'm right, you're right and I'm wrong, and then shouldn't you forgive me? It depends on what it is. Also.
Right. Because there's some things that's unexcusable. Like if you, I was about to say something that was really bad, but let's agree that there's some things that's unexcusable. But Tom,
some things.
I enjoyed this time. I'm sorry I caught you off hand, but we got to do this again.
Yes, because the world is revolving, and I'm also learning at the same time. So if I said something that was offensive, then I'm also willing to learn on what I can say that's not offensive. But then I also know that some of the things I know to be true.
Okay, exactly.
Regardless, because if you say something to somebody saying, you know what, you did such and such and such and such, and they don't say, well, you're right or you're wrong. well, you did the following. And you say to yourself, oh, I was right. Because your self-defense mechanism kicked in, and instead of you acknowledging that you're wrong, and then we can move on, you're trying to defend being messed up.
And see,
So
that's what I was saying is when I know that I can connect, I'm connecting or I'm not connecting. It's like if you're defending wrong, you're not my person.
Yeah, if you're wrong, you're wrong. We all been caught red-handed and doing something we ain't had no business doing, or
right.
It was perceived as wrong. And it shouldn't take somebody else to say. That's why it's important to have good people around you, because sometimes the people around you, the good people around you, say, "Nah, Tom, you was wrong."
Exactly.
No, you were wrong, Tom. You have to be able to say, "Yeah, I didn't look at it from her point of view, but I will have to go to her and apologize." You got to be able to go and apologize. That's the problem. Most of the time, we're incapable of apologizing when we know we're wrong.
And we will perceive things differently. So, you know how they say there's his story, her story, and the story? Our perception of the world is based on how we experience life.
Absolutely.
And the meaning we give to it. So,
when I hear people saying, "Man, he was the worst person in the world. Oh, he used to do this and that to me," then I start looking at them and going, well, after you get to know him, you say, "Yeah, I understand why he wanted to choke you. I don't agree with him choking you, but I understand why he felt the way he felt."
And also, if you're in that relationship, it's also like you should know the origin of that. You should have talked like, yo, how have you been hurt before? There's always a reason. People don't just automatically have hate. It stems from something. There's an origin. And if you could go back and understand why you feel this way about something, you could change that. But if I'm in a relationship, I'm going to ask about it before I just get mad. When I find out your reason is stupid as hell, then I'm going to get mad. Be like, that's some stupid, That's just how I do that. I'm joking.
The other person.
I wouldn't do that.
If some boy knocked the ice cream over when she was 10 and she's still holding on to that's one story. But if she came home and found her husband in bed with a midget, then you can understand her being upset.
All right, brother. But look, it was enjoyable. And I'm looking at my stream getting weak as I don't know what, man. But, thanks for picking up, Tom, man. We got to do this again.
Yep, absolutely.
So, everybody, that was Thomas Billy. All right, Tom, man. I'll catch you later, brother.
Peace.
Peace.
See, we be making love constantly. That's why my eyes